Moving over to the backside of this general document. So remember, the main objective for the Secular Coalition for America, which is identical to the Secular Coalition for California or Nevada or Massachusetts or Maryland, whichever state you're in, would be to facilitate movement unity. We are not the umbrella group. We're not telling everybody what to do. We are the group that's trying to facilitate the coordination within the movement. And it's a different mindset. So you have to take off your hat of being maybe a dictator where you run a group and you have to get everything done and make all the decisions, and then put on your hat of being a coalition leader. And I'm a coalition expert, so when you're a coalition leader, you're wearing a hat of you're looking after all your groups, and you want all your groups to do well. You want them all to be involved, and your job is to keep them all happy. So just think you're pushing a wheelbarrow, and there are a lot of little frogs in there, and they're trying to jump out. And you're trying to do a little dance and keep all your frogs in your wheelbarrow. So it's a very different mentality running a coalition versus running your individual group. And you can certainly do both. You can put on your hat to run your separate individual group, and then the leadership within the chapter in California in particular will have to put on their coalition hat and try to bring groups that they might even think are competing groups for maybe donors or whatever to the table. Social media, every state has a Facebook site. We set those up. We have, of course, a national Facebook site. We have a national Instagram. We have national Twitter. And we have the type of software where there are automatic feeds going to these sites so they look current and fresh all the time. And that's something that as we get more mature, we can do that with the California or every state site where the Facebook page is looking fresh. Automatically things are being pulled over there. It could be 50 different pre-written messages, or it could be coming from our daily clips that we're putting out every day. So it doesn't have to be maintained by anybody. It's happening automatically. So there are clever ways to do this social media. And then that gets your visibility up, gets your likes up, gets people in the database. People go over to the Secular Coalition for California's website, and then they sign up. We have a master calendar on our website. We are working with a major donor in Los Angeles who's working on a master calendar for the whole movement for all 1,800 groups. We can help get speakers, and we're always up to new initiatives. So that is this document. This document, you could take Secular Coalition for America off. You could put Secular Coalition for California on there. Every state has their own logo that we've already developed because it's pretty much identical what we're trying to do. The next document I want to go over here really quickly is this document that says Chapter Development, Secular Coalition for America Chapter Development. And it's just sort of a really quick outline of what it's like to put together a coalition and run a chapter. So in each state, we've been working to identify an executive committee. Now, executive committees are fabulous in that the reason you have an executive committee and not just a president and a chairman is that this is a coalition. You need flexibility in your leadership. So we really recommend at least 2 co-chairs for each state. You could have 4. There's no reason you couldn't have 5. You could have 3. We don't really care, but we really like to see 2 in case one accidentally stepped out in front of a bus or something. So it'd be really nice to have at least 2. So wouldn't wish that on our California co-chairs. But you know, California is such a big state, you might want to consider, since you have 3 huge metropolitan areas, you might want to consider maybe 2 from San Diego, 2 from the Los Angeles area, 2 from Northern California, San Francisco area. Or you could just have really super 2 active co-chairs, but I need at least 2. Okay, so every state has 2. Some are looking at having more. And then the executive committee would be ideal to have at least 5 people, have somebody who has the portfolio maybe they're really good with this in their day job, or they're really good with this with another organization that they're running or involved in. Somebody to have a lobbying portfolio, somebody to have kind of the social networking, website type portfolio, and someone to at least have the kind of communications portfolio, which would be more handling the press, things of that nature. And if you had a fourth person who could kind of look after some fundraising, that would be great. So I'd be looking for people who have those particular assignments. But if there's anybody in California who's remotely interested, we can train them up. No problem. We can train them how to do fundraising. And we're not expecting, no one's going to be doing fundraising off by themselves. We'll come into town, we'll put together an event. We'd love to have, someone to work with. We come into California and we do fundraising all the time already. As a matter of fact, I did a lot of fundraising over this weekend. I'm doing fundraising tonight with people that have nothing to do with this conference. And so then we have a memorandum of understanding. So when a state chapter is ready, they're mature enough, then we sign a little memorandum of understanding with their two co-chairs, at least two of their co-chairs, and we put them on the line, a little bit responsible for moving things along. So there is okay. Okay, and then so that's one hurdle that the states get through. And then we have here identify how the legislature in each particular state operates in the best ways to meet the needs of the secular coalition for that state. So right now we have state pages for all 50 states. There's the Secular Coalition for California has a state page that is populated with all kinds of information already on the Secular Coalition for America's website. And that's where we're housing it until we launch its own separate website. And on there, we've already done research about the state legislature, talking about their session, when it starts, when it ends, good time to get involved. A lot of that has already been done. There have been quite a few phone calls that have already happened, at least 3 or 4 last fall, quite a few already this year. So things are moving along nicely. We just have to step it up and get to the next level. Establish monthly conference calls to share information with national and to advocate particular issues. So we're happy. We're happy to write the agenda. We can send the agenda now out to everybody in California in our database, which I know is well over 1,000 people. I think it's even well over 1,500 people already in our database alone, just from California, because we have their zip codes. So when you're ready enough for an email to go out with a call to action, there's going to be a phone call. Here's the agenda, what we're going to talk about. Co-chairs listed at the top, other leadership. We've got many states that are already doing it now. We started off just sending the agenda around to a few people, posting it on the website, but now a lot of the calls, I'd say probably about 15, 20 states, the agenda's going out to everybody in that state that's in our database. Texas is already doing it, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, others. The agenda for the state calls look pretty much identical to the agenda for the national call. This is the agenda for the national call. You can see, how long this one is. This is the one that I do every Thursday. And so it has certain areas that we always research and touch on and cover. Like, I always tell you what's happening with the Obama administration and the executive branch and issues that we care about, what's happening in the House and the Senate. And then, of course, we're hitting the highlights of the state. So like a California call would be with our legislative tracker, we would look to see if there are any bills or resolutions that touch on any issues that we care about. They would be listed, of course, right on the agenda. And then what we have trouble with would be if there are any local issues, maybe city councils or whatever, that have some problematic issues. We have to rely on the people that come on the call to tell us about those. And people can throw out any issues where they think there should be litigation. We can report those over to American Humanist Association and to Freedom from Religion Foundation. So the calls are pretty comprehensive, and there is a format to kind of capture everything. So like on the state calls, we don't put the international stuff on here, but we have like a little section for charity opportunities, like at the state level. So there is, we've done many of these call agendas. Most states have had at least 6 calls in the last year, and the agenda format is pretty much the same. And we're identifying the issues up front, the staff at SCA, and then we're hoping the local people come in with other important issues that make the list.